So today we're diving deep into the empath's journey. And I want to be clear, we're not just talking about some personality trait you read about online. We're talking about a profound and often really painful transformation. It's this awakening that forges a secret gift, but, and this is the key, it only happens after a walk through some serious personal darkness. And that journey, well, it usually starts with a question I think a lot of us have asked ourselves. If you're an empath, you probably just felt that question in your bones. You've almost certainly felt this way. You feel everything so deeply. The good stuff, sure, but especially the suffering of other people. And it can be just overwhelming, right? Like you're carrying this constant weight that isn't even yours. But what if that very burden is actually the raw material for something truly extraordinary? And this is the core idea we're going to unpack. It comes from a Jungian perspective, and it turns the whole thing on its head. It suggests that this intense sensitivity, it's not some random fluke of your temperament. It's a scar. It's a powerful, deeply ingrained response to past pain that, believe it or not, eventually becomes a doorway into mystery. Okay, so let's start right at the beginning, with the wound. This view argues that an empath's hyper-awareness is really a survival mechanism. It was forged in an environment, maybe in childhood, that was filled with pain or abandonment or loss. An environment where your very survival dependent on being able to read the emotional temperature of a room, to feel the unspoken currents, just to stay safe. Now, look at this contrast, because it's so important. The common belief is that sensitivity is this soft, gentle, almost passive gift. But the Jungian view? It's way more primal than that. Think of a wild animal that's been hunted. Its senses become razor sharp. That's the empath. Your nervous system literally learned to perceive subtle threats, to read between the lines, to hear what wasn't being said. So what looks like a beautiful, gentle gift on the surface was actually forged on a battlefield. So because the empath feels the world's sorrows so intensely, they just can't avoid what comes next, and that is the descent. You were inevitably pulled into the darkness, into the shadow, into this labyrinth of psychic suffering, not just your own, but all the stuff you absorb from the world around you. But here's the thing about this darkness. It's not just an ending. In all the great myths, in our own dreams, the darkness is also the place of creation. It's the womb. To enter it is to go down into the unconscious, to leave behind the neat, tidy world of logic, and really confront the powerful, primal forces that actually shape who we are. And this story from the source material, wow, it illustrates his whole thing perfectly. It's a patient's dream where a woman is being chased through a forest by this terrifying pack of wolves. She runs and runs until she just collapses from exhaustion, absolutely certain she's about to be torn apart. But instead of attacking, the wolves just lie down beside her. They surround her, and their breath starts to synchronize with hers. You see the message there? It's so profound. The very thing you're terrified will devour you is actually your initiation. The darkness doesn't come to destroy you. It comes to teach you. And that brings us to the absolute critical turning point of this whole journey. Because to emerge from that darkness with a gift, and not just a pile of new wounds, the empath must confront their own shadow. You have to do your own inner work. There's no way around it. This is where we run into this powerful archetype, the wounded healer. An empath's ability to connect with and heal others comes directly from the fact that they themselves have been wounded. But, and this is a huge but, there's a massive danger here. A healer who hasn't tended to their own pain just ends up projecting it onto everyone else. They start trying to fix in others what's actually broken inside themselves. So it all comes down to this choice, this razor's edge. You've got two paths. Path 1, you become enslaved by your wound. You become a martyr, you mistake endless self-sacrifice for real compassion, and you just bleed your pain all over everyone else. Or there's path 2. You turn around, you face that wound, you integrate its lessons, and you transmute all that pain into profound wisdom and a radiant kind of strength. And what exactly do you have to face? It's what Jung called the shadow. You know, it's all the stuff we carry around in our unconscious baggage, the parts of ourselves we deny or reject, the things we'd rather not look at. For an empath, this might be their own deep-seated anger or loneliness or rage, things they've totally ignored while they were busy focusing on everyone else's feelings. And integrating the shadow isn't about getting rid of it. It's about understanding it so you can actually harness its power for good. But for those who are brave enough to walk through that abyss, who really do the work and confront their shadow, something absolutely extraordinary begins to emerge. The wound starts to reveal its hidden purpose, and that secret gift, it's finally forged. So, how does this actually happen? It seems to happen in stages. First, you've got that initial state of just drowning. You're lost in a sea of emotion, totally unable to tell your feelings from anyone else's. Then comes the struggle, the fight, and eventually the surrender in the dark. And it's out of that surrender that a new faculty awakens, something we can call the inner eye, the ability to see and perceive meaning right in the middle of chaos.
So what does this gift actually look like in practice? Well, it starts with discernment. This is huge. It's finally knowing, okay, that feeling is mine, but that one, that's not. I'm picking that up from someone else. From there, it blossoms into archetypical sight, the ability to look at someone's personal pain and see the bigger universal story playing out. This allows for transmutation, turning that raw, overwhelming feeling into profound wisdom, a deep knowing. And all of this culminates in true presence, the incredible, rare ability to just be with another person's suffering, to hold space for them without that frantic, desperate need to fix it.
And this new way of being, this new capacity, it leads to the final stage of the whole journey, where the empath's very psyche is reforged into something incredibly resilient and powerful. You become what's known as an alchemical vessel. Now, in ancient alchemy, the vessel was this special container where base metals were transformed into gold. After this journey, the empath's own mind, their own psyche, becomes that container. They can hold the most intense, contradictory emotions: love and rage, beauty and horror, joy and grief, all at the same time without shattering. Their very presence communicates that wholeness is actually possible. And this metaphor of the phoenix, it just captures the essence of this rebirth so perfectly. After being completely consumed and burned to ashes by their own darkness, the empath rises again, but now with a new radiance, with wings of fire. The ashes of all that despair become the very soil from which their wisdom grows. And the end result of all this is a profound and unshakable clarity. The secret gift isn't immunity to pain. Let's be clear on that. It's an intimacy with pain. The empath who has walked through their own darkness knows that storms will come again, but they don't fear them anymore. Why? Because they know they can survive. And in that survival, they discovered a strength that isn't just personal anymore. It's archetypal. So we'll end with this thought. Please, do not fear your sensitivity or curse the darkness that you've had to endure. Every single moment of that despair was the forge. It was the initiation you had to go through. Because once you walk through your own underworld and come out the other side, you finally realize that your empathy, it was never a curse. It's your crown. It's your secret gift. And it is your true initiation into the incredible mystery of being fully alive.